We're going to be serving up a triple dose of Masterpiece-related news today. One Masterpiece Classic kind of stuff, one Masterpiece MPG Gatai kind of stuff, and one Masterpiece MPM movie kind of stuff. Now, we just came off of all the big reveals and everything from the ACG Hong Kong Expo that's happening this weekend on the other side of the globe. A lot of cool stuff was shown. We have some updated images that we're going to be covering tomorrow on the live stream. So we have some brand new images in relation to the Farai model kits and all kinds of cool stuff that's happening there. A lot of cool product. But what we're going to be talking about today is a whole bunch of brand new Masterpiece news, both stuff that has showed up in Chinese message boards, whether it be Baidu or Weibo, as well as some brand new Masterpiece images that are coming from Japan because the latest issue of Transformers Generation 2022 just came out yesterday. So let's talk about that. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool news, even some lore a little bit we'll get into, which is always fun. So the first one we're going to cover is Movie Masterpiece. Now, there is a image that has been surfacing and spinning around all over the place on the Chinese message boards. This image is clearly that of a distributor image that is used to send to distributors to let them know that a product is going to be coming and to prepare for pre-orders and everything and the like for their websites. And what is that Masterpiece? Well, it is MPM-10, but it's not MPM-10 Starscream, traditional movie Starscream. This is one that has his tattoo designs from Revenge of the Fallen. From what we could see from this very small blurry image, and all of these distributor images are always small and blurry, it looks like it's pretty much just a straight up repaint. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm looking at the details here. It looks like he still has his turret weapon and his missile fingers gimmick. And what's only confusing about this is the original MPM movie Masterpiece Starscream, the MPM-10, only came out in August of 2020. It wasn't very long ago that the original version of this came out. Now, I guess maybe one could argue it came out at a time when, it was the big V, so, distribution was probably bad, sales were probably bad, stores were, especially in Japan, where everything was on crazy lockdown. I know that I could speak from personal experience, at least on the Western side of things. It came out in August of 2020, and by September, it was already on clearance in Target. I remember it was originally $149.99, and then all of a sudden people were like, oh, I'm finding it for $74.99, already on clearance at Target. And I believe some of those listings are still up to this day, which is pretty crazy. But it shows that obviously that this didn't sell very well in its original run. So this is one way to take all of that tooling, that engineering, that time and energy that was put into it and somehow make some easy money out of it. I'm pretty sure they're going to include something different with it this time around just to make it a little different than before. But at the end of the day, it's a way also to kind of make your money back. And anyone who missed their opportunity to pick it up 2 years ago when the world was falling apart, here's another opportunity, and it's the Revenge of the Fallen version. So that's the first one. Next up, we have the MPG, the MP Great, the MP Giant, the MP Gatai, the combiners. And we have a brand new image that comes courtesy of the Transformers Generations 2022 guidebook that just came out yesterday in Japan. And one of the images is they show a completely unbridled resin prototype of the final combined mode of Raiden, the Trainbot combiner. So now we have a pretty good idea of how the other members are going to look like, because right now currently we only have the first two and the third one is on its way. So we have a really good idea of what it looks like. And then I'll be honest with you, it looks pretty good. I know some people have been hard on it. Oh, the third party one is better, but I think it looks pretty good. And again, I'm paying a lot of attention to this because this is going to be a strong representation of the future of what potentially could be other Masterpiece combiners if this is successful. And the fact that this is all tooled and ready to go, after this is done, who's next? That's the big question. Who is next? Because we're already seeing what's going on with the Hasbro side of things. We have our Menasor, and they're already talking about, oh, we're going to be then going into another character because of the success of Menasor and Motormaster. So we already have the retail side with their combiners, and now we have Masterpiece with this one. I'm really curious to see what's going on. Another cool thing to note, is in that very same Transformers Generations book that just came out. Mr. Kissplay himself, Yuki Oshima, included a brand new manga story that was included in this magazine. It's the Train Wars origin of Raiden. So it's a cool little story that's set in the year 2011 and how the train bots were actually created. Because the truth be told, they just kind of showed up in the Headmasters anime series back in the day for Generation 1. They just kind of showed up. There wasn't really an explanation. Obviously, both Shuki's Generations toy that he got, and I think it was 2014, it was a repaint retool of the Astro Train mold. So he kind of had a little bit of an explanation. Oh, he was created on Earth, and it was with, Earth scientists, and it was in 2011. So there was kind of that small little blurb explanation in his tech spec. And again, it was covered again in the Vector Sigma, Ask Vector Sigma stuff, but that stuff's not really canon. A lot of that I don't really take seriously because it was all written fast and loose, that stuff. But point being is, it's out there that there is some kind of origin with these characters, but it was never hard established in anything that was comic related or animation. And now Yuki Oshima, who has worked with the Kissplay line, and Yuki Oshima was actually responsible for the big, G1 timeline that we have today, that we know how everything works out. So he's doing both the story and the art for the very next little manga series, and it's pretty cool. And what's cool about it too is it introduces once again the character of Atari from Kissplay and what she's been up to all this time. Because the last time we saw Atari, obviously she was in the Transformers Legends mangas that were done by Sakamoto-san, and Sakamoto was doing all kinds of great stuff with that and bringing back those Kissplay characters and explaining what was going on with them. Atari was actually, a scientist, and she was behind robotics and the creation of a whole bunch of robots that we know today, like Beast Wars 2nd's Moon and Artemis and the Selectors, which are what the Siege and Earthrise road formers are. So she was kind of behind that, but we never knew, how did she become a robotic scientist? When did that happen? Because that's years later in the future. So they kind of explained, well, after Kissplay ended in 2007, in 2011, she began her career in robotics and robotic science, and it starts here with the train bots. So nice little tie-in there. Hopefully I'll be able to get some scans of the manga, and I'll post it on Twitter, and then of course I'll translate stuff and it'll go on the Discord and everything like that too. Just going to plug the Discord there, which is part of the Patreon, but that's a whole other story. So that's pretty cool. Also, again, I dig that, that everything kind of ties together, and you have the lore too with Kissplay and those characters and everything. So nice stuff. Last thing we're going to talk about is now more images are showing up of the Masterpiece Cliff, aka Masterpiece Cliffjumper. Hasbro Takara has still yet to acknowledge its existence. We've been talking about this for months now. What is going on? This thing is literally now in the finals. This is the actual product now that's showing up in all these images on Baidu from Chinese message boards. So what's happening? I almost feel and this is just a small piece of me, I almost feel is this one giant troll? Is this actually a super high-end third-party bootleg of retooling of the Bumblebee mold, and people just to believe that it's legitimate? I don't know, because it's so weird. It's so weird that we have all these other Masterpiece announcements. We have Trailbreaker, we have Skyfire, now we have this Masterpiece Starscream. What's happening with this Cliffjumper? What's the story with this? Was something that was planned, for years later or something, and it just leaked out this early? That doesn't make any sense with the lead time and how stuff is manufactured. So I don't know. It's very, very weird. But so that's just, that's 3 pieces of Masterpiece news, and hopefully we'll get some more information on the future with these. Especially I want to see more with what's happening with that manga with Train Wars. That's probably the most interesting, the lore stories that flesh out our characters and explain what happened with Raiden and the train bots. Really cool stuff. Hope to see you guys tomorrow for the Saturday Night live stream. We'll have a whole bunch of updated images from the Hong Kong AGC Expo, all the cool stuff with that, color images. The RC model kit had a whole bunch of nice photo shoots and stuff. A lot of cool stuff we're going to cover tomorrow. I hope to see you then.